I never used to get stage fright, but when I came on, I saw that.
All those people.
Jeez, man, I can't afford to flop here.
For those of you who don't know.
Now this one dedicated to all the black men in the world who don't protest.
Yo, let me tell you.
Robbie's like, yo.
It's easy to learn. Listen. Proud to be black.
Anything me say.
Proud to be black.
Anything me say. Proud to be black. Anything me say. Proud to be black. Proud to be black, bro. This is him?
Yes.
So I came on stage and I did it, and it tore up the place, right? And you know, we had a big article on it in the Gleaner and that, right?
Newspapers, yeah.
So you know what? The funny thing is, right? A couple of years ago, I was driving in my car, and was it on the radio or something? It was playing, and my kids were in the car. They go, "Dad, that sounds like you." They didn't even know. You know, my daughter Farah, she goes, "Dad, that sounds like you." I go, "That is me." She goes, "No, it's not." But it sounds like, I go, "No, that's me."
Wow.
She goes, "You made the tune." Right? I said, "That's me."
That's so sick.
And she goes, "No,
so sick.
I said, "Listen, I used to have the tune, Crucial Robbie." She goes, "Yeah, I know you've said before Crucial, but you right?"
Can't chat to Robbie.
I said, "All right, go on Spotify." So I said to her, "Go on Spotify and thing." Yeah. So she went on Spotify, found. She goes, "Oh my God, Dad."
Can't chat.
Alexis. Oh my G, good. Easy, bro. Welcome. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
As you know, Chef Ricardo, aka One Love Africa, over there, so with some rice and peas, curry goat, plantain, and some G Money Brown stew chicken.
Oh, you highlight my one there, yeah?
I'm trying to brown some chicken. I told you, there's some, I told you, I'm a chef, so not now about G Money Brown too. So everything's alright, so that's why you guys enjoy it.
I tell food.
Okay, I have a request for Robbie. Can you translate what you just said?
What are you saying?
Into English?
It tastes nice.
Everything nice.
Everything nice. But still no.
That's the thing with Africa generally, is that for me, I feel that the greatest achievement I have is like breaking that stereotype of like a yard man, a Jamaican in Africa, and coming here and just relying on talent and saying, boom, let's keep it moving. And then all of my brethren who come over, who thought I was mad for leaving. Yeah. How can you leave the BBC to go to a country you're not even African? But now when they come to visit, they're like, yeah.
I see why.
I get it. All right, we're rolling? Good to go. Cool. All right, boom. We're in the building, of course, actually in my house. I want to say big up everybody. Oh, that's my camera over there, yeah? Nice, yeah? Everybody's got the camera good. So, obviously, my name's G Money. Lowton is in the building. What going on, Lowton? And we have some very special guests in the building. Man like Cecil, man like Robbie Wagwan.
We're here, man. This is great to be here, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us to your home as well, man.
Yeah.
Nice house, by the way, man.
Yeah, well.
You know what? Tell them again.
Living large in there.
Tell them again, yeah.
I'm living big in Kenya, man.
Tell them again. You know, if it's in England, he's coming to the yard, like, say, yo, calm down. Don't say too much about my house. Just keep quiet.
I even wanted to ask, like, because Carol told me that you guys parked in the basement. But did you park near my spot? Carol, did you park near my spot in the basement?
But your security you're really polite.
Yeah?
Oh, for real?
No, because I wanted, because they said life is good. I wanted to know if you saw the parking lot as well, because there's some nice things down there as well.
I'll tell you, man.
I'll go have a look at Allow now. I'm going to see that after this.
You're living life here,
You know
man.
what I mean?
Trust me.
But first, welcome, because I thought to myself, like, you guys have been in Kenya doing some amazing content for AFTV, and also, like, big up the sponsors as well, because the sponsors who made it happen, because I know that Carol, like, pulled every trick in the book to make this happen. So, like, we're blessing, and the fact that you guys can come to the house and chill. How was the food, by the way?
Food, what, your food tonight or the food in general?
The food in my food first though.
Your food was on point, man.
Yeah,
It's
good.
really, really good. And the food in general I've loved as well. Like I like the food they eat over
Did
here.
it taste anything like Jamaica?
There's a lot of similarities as well, yeah, there is. You know what I mean? Like
We had something today, like Callaloo today.
yeah, we had a thing today, like it's just like Callaloo.
Yeah, like that
What's it called?
What's Callaloo?
Skuma. Skuma or
Kales.
Managu Kales.
That is it.
Skuma Wiki.
Yeah, that was
Kamawiki.
Yeah, Skuma Wiki.
Skuma. It's
Yeah.
exactly like Callaloo.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Same,
man.
basically, was
Kill, yeah?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
And
So,
it's been
so
good.
obviously, you know, out here preaching the gospel of Arsenal. What a time to come to Nairobi, man. I'm sure everybody got a lot of questions, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to talk too much about football, but let's get the elephant out of the room, man. How are we feeling as Arsenal fans? And these are ex-Arsenal fans.
No. How are you feeling as Arsenal fans?
Your
No. You just met me. You just met me.
But you support Man City, so I know you have to, and so they've recently been successful, so I get how you transition. But no, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a good question. How are we feeling right now? I mean, the season's
It's over, isn't it?
Practically over, yeah?
Gutted. You know, I felt more gutted last year, if I'm being honest, because
Right.
this
So close.
Yeah, the reason being is that we should have won last year, and we just got pipped at the post by a really good City team who just got it done at the end. But with this one, we kind of knew that we weren't going to win the league from about February.
Sure.
Once that January transfer window closed and Arsenal didn't go and buy anyone, I knew we weren't winning the league. I knew. I was like, how can you not buy anybody? You know, the amount of injuries we've had, to give yourself any chance against a Liverpool team that just, you know, that stage only lost one game all season. You have to go out there and buy someone, and they didn't. And I actually remember doing a video at the time saying that they've given up on the season. The owners and whoever make those decisions, they gave up on the season and basically said, well, we wait until the summer. What gave me what sort of revitalised the season for Arsenal was the excellent run we had in the
Champions League.
The Champions League.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think nobody was expecting that as you know, to go beat Real Madrid over 2 legs. I mean, we were absolutely brilliant in that Champions League until we got to that first leg against PSG. You know, but I think, you know, I'm disappointed this season, very disappointed, but not as gutted as I was last year because I've seen it coming from that time.
I tell people that I think that the best games of the Champions League this season have already been played. Like, if you think about the Arsenal Real Madrid games, you think about the PSG Liverpool, PSG
Arsenal second leg was
second leg as well. Inter Barcelona. I don't know if the final can match any of that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to.
7-1 was we were there. It was nice to enjoy the levels, but that was, as an Arsenal fan, was nice to see.
Yeah, the Champions League gave us hope. You know what I mean? And I think it was brilliant, the Champions League run by Arsenal, but ultimately we knew what was going to happen in the league because they just didn't do anything in January. And listen, there's a lot of reasons why Arsenal have had a poor season. We sort of talking about it off air before. 27 injuries this season. Injuries to key players. We're not talking, you know, your regular players. We're talking Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ben White, you know, guys that are your key players. Jesus out, Havertz out, you know. We ain't seen those guys since January. We ain't seen Tommy Asu all season.
Yeah.
Who's that?
You know, now, I don't think... There's no team that's going to... I'm convinced that no team can win the league with all your key players missing. I've seen teams over the last few years fall away with injuries. Newcastle, when they had all them injuries, fall away. This season, Spurs.
City.
I know not that they were going to win the league, but Spurs, they suffer from injuries. They're right down at the bottom. United have had injuries. They're down at the bottom. Man City are not, been way off the league.
Let me tell you, why do you mention Spurs, I want to give you a message, right? And I want make sure we clip this vertical for your brethren expressions, yeah? So you see that guy, let me tell you, I follow him because I love his content, but he's the most annoying content creator out there, right? But here's the thing.
He'll
You see,
fire back.
so you see, right, yeah?
Right.
You see,
Fire
yeah?
back.
You see, he was like, they were jumping up doing the Maasai jump. You see the difference between like Spurs and Arsenal is, yeah? If them man they came to Kenya, nobody would even care.
Nobody shows up.
Because there are no Spurs fans here. You know what I'm trying to say? But like, because you guys are Arsenal big team, that's why we gave you the official Maasai. But like, bro, let me tell you, if Expressions came to Kenya right now and got off the plane and walked with a billboard on his back saying, I'm Expressions, people would say, expressing what? Nobody would know who he is, right?
I think he has a big fan base here. As expression.
I'm just hating
Not as a
because
Tottenham fan.
I'm just hating.
Let's go back to Arsenal. If you look at it based on what Arsenal didn't do in January, what do you think the thought process of the board was? Because I'm trying to think.
Wait.
Yeah.
Just
That was
to
the
wait.
thought process of them was, why go and spend huge money on Ollie Watkins or somebody of that ilk when let's just wait until and we go again in the summer, right? And you can do that, but to me, I think it's criminal to do that when you've still got a chance of challenging for a league, because the summer could come and you could still not win. Don't assume everyone's going to strengthen. So, but that's obviously what they did. They obviously said to themselves, let's wait till the summer. And I just don't think it's right. They had money. They could have done something. They put in a bid for Ollie Watkins. I think if they'd have gone more, they could have got him. And it was just all half-hearted and rubbish. They didn't even buy one player. They didn't even bring in a lone player.
Well,
No, in January. In January.
Say you have Raheem.
Forget about Sterling for a minute. In January, well, that's another thing. Well, that's another thing. They had Sterling, and who's been terrible this season, that we all known about. He's been how bad he's been, and they still didn't bring anyone in. So I'm talking about January. I'm not honest about the summer. In January, they didn't bring in not one side. They've been very lucky, Arsenal, that Mikel Merino stepped up. I have to give that guy a lot of credit.
Sterling came in.
He's actually...
Sterling's
been there since the summer. What are you talking about?
And he was injured.
Right? Mikel Merino stepped up. He's done actually very, very well, but he's not a striker.
Facts.
They could have given themselves more of a chance to win the league, and the owners gave up on the league. As far as the evidence is there.
It's also it was also business as well. It was, in my opinion, it ended up being bad business. But he spoke about Ollie Watkins. There was word that they didn't want to invest the extra money because of his age and all that, which I think's ridiculous.
But they could have bought a loan in. Because even Villa, they bought in Asensio. And they're loan signings.
Yeah, and Rashford has been good for them.
Rashford's been good for them. Asensio's been good for them.
Yeah.
We bought in nobody.
Yeah.
It was criminal. Absolutely
Brought in
criminal.
Malin as well.
Yeah,
They bought in Marlon's on a permanent.
Okay.
They bought in Marlon on a
I kind
permanent.
of think that like the thinking must have been something along the lines like the players we've got will get us to the end of the season, and then but they didn't schedule for all of these injuries. And you can't
then
run a team
you're
like
basically saying though you're giving up on the season. Let's have it right.
Or you want to be lucky. One of them. You're riding your luck.
You're going to win the season off of luck.
The best
you don't really, it's
Only
not going to
Liverpool
happen.
did that in the COVID era.
Well, PSG's the best example. Robbie, we spoke about this before. Like they got Kvaratskhelia in, and they're in the final.
Yeah,
Like,
January, they're already winning
And
their
that's
league.
all they needed in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already winning their league, and they went and got Kvaratskhelia, £75 million, and now they're in the final of Champions League.
And
we bought nobody.
Something else from that PSG game that really stood out for me was that like PSG has players who are really willing to shoot, to go for it, to take a risk, to take a chance. Sometimes I think we're still stuck in that whole era of trying to score the perfect goal kind of vibe.
I think as well this season where you got to fault the manager is the playing style. I think Arsenal have played all season with this style of playing where it's all about control. Yeah, I think that works well when you play away from home, but when you're at home, you've got to kill teams off. We didn't. So number one is because we didn't have a striker, but number two is because we just weren't clean. Look how many games you said it today. How many games we lead in?
10
games.
10 games.
Leading in 10 games.
And haven't won.
And yeah,
That's terrible.
that's terrible.
The amount of draws that Arsenal have had this season. Imagine if they
how many draws?
converted.
like 14 of them or 13 of them.
Yeah, if they converted even half of those draws into wins. So all the evidence is there to say that, number one, the style needs to change, particularly at home, to be more attacking and to kill teams off. And number two, they have to get a striker because not clinical enough.
Can we give him a bit of grace, Arteta, in the fact that you spoke about his injuries. You're always been in a team. I've played in a team where there's constantly different players coming in. You
Yeah, it
can't
makes a
really get
difference.
into a rhythm, a momentum. You can't really listen. They're Premier League players. I never reached that level, so I would expect them to have made it work, especially with Arteta. But there is a case to say the player next to you or behind you is always changing, so it's going to take a bit of time to click. But you're right, it's definitely different from last season.
It's done us in this season, and I don't think no team could have coped with it, if I'm being honest. Right?
Let me ask
if
you
Salah, Van Dijk, all those guys are missing for a long period of time, Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool, would they have run away with the league? I don't think they would have done.
Let me ask you, because obviously, as Arsenal fans, right? As Arsenal fans who are in media, right? Mm-hmm. Are there ever days when you go and watch a game, right? And when you come out the stadium, you're like, I don't even want to record nothing, fam.
Yeah, that's a lot of times this season, I'll tell you that.
I didn't know whether to answer that.
Let me tell you, I used to do morning radio, right? And on the days when on the weekends, we had a stinker.
Yeah.
Opening that mic at 6 o'clock in the morning and
Hey, listen, man.
it's and getting that banter. And sometimes, I can't even lie to you, I'm one of those people because I'm a proper fan. Sometimes the little digs, especially they do get to you.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll give you I know Robbie's going to speak on it in a second, but I'll give you the most recent one. Bro, PSG.
Away?
When we lose, Rob can kind of sense it. I don't love the fan cams when we lose, but you have to get it done. You have to switch off from the fan and interview the fans. But what made it worse is we're stuck in the stadium because them man outside are going mad. I don't know if you heard about the videos. I don't want to go too much. There was fireworks. Fans were getting run over. PSG because PSG fans were going crazy
Partying outside.
And they weren't allowing us to leave for time because of it. And then when we was going down, even was trying to leave, they still blocked the stairs and we could see them. And then Robbie's like, yeah, man, you got to go and do some interviews. Go out there. And we had to find some back street little, listen. And
it was chaos.
It was hard, bro. It was chaos.
I don't blame you. Send the young
chaos
bucks,
outside the
man.
ground.
Get out there, man. Send the young bucks out there. I would do the exact same. I ain't even lying.
No, Rob, to be fair, Rob's there. He's standing with us.
There's absolute chaos
it was
outside.
Mad, bro.
Listen, there's a lot of times you don't feel like, especially there's certain teams you lose against. You don't want to, you already know what's coming, the amount of stick you're going to get, but you have to, sometimes actually, the weird thing about it is that sometimes you kind of get a little bit of solace in talking to people after a game.
Of course.
People feel how you're feeling and getting people's opinions, but the PSG one weren't nice.
Right. I feel like that would be you have to give you guys so much credit for that, because I know that it's for me as a football diehard, it's when I get into that zone of we've had a stinker and I don't want to even talk to nobody. I can't imagine you guys and then having the mic outside and having someone absolutely sounding off and keeping a straight face
And you got to be, and sometimes you actually agree with what they're saying. And you got to be subjective. You got to put another point of view, and then you know that you're going to get beard.
Is that something
your phone's ringing, KG's on the phone, Expressions is on the phone. They're all of them ready to get a stick. Well, it's football.
Do you think about that, from an editorial perspective? Do you it's your channel, AFTV, massive. Do you have that editorial thing, saying I have to be balanced?
100%.
100%.
I feel that, I even sometimes I'll be talking to someone, I agree with what they're saying.
But you can't.
You have to strike a balance. Yeah. So for me, right, if somebody comes on, I will always challenge people, because someone just comes and says, right, we've lost the game, Arteta's got to go. Right. I'm going to ask you the reason. You need to give me some good reasons why then. Now I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start questioning you on why you think he should go and give me some valid reasons and that, and that's just how I do it. And I do that with everything. I do that, the other day I remember there was one interview I did the other day and there was one guy who's going, Odegaard. In fact, Odegaard, he's not a good captain, and Odegaard, he's been terrible. Just get rid of Odegaard. And I said to him, I said, well, hold on. He was the player of the year last season, and he was the player of the year the season before.
Why is
now
Man
you're
United
just-
fan
now-
laughing? Come and sit here. You come and sit here
Well,
right
now I'm
now.
saying, like, what do you say now? Just get rid of him straight away. And a great example, you know what? When you talk about Man United, that's a great example because I remember a lot of their fans saying, "Get rid of Bruno, get rid of Bruno, get rid of Bruno."
I'd love to have Bruno.
That's been their
though.
best player this season.
Yeah.
They've been really good.
So, you know, sometimes I think people are like, I think in modern day football especially, like everyone's quick to just say get rid.
Yeah.
But the guy was player of the season last two seasons.
But the Odegaard one.
Right, and Odegaard was injured at the start of the season, out for free. He's obviously not come back exactly the same player.
First of all, Brian, let me introduce you.
Yes.
Brian from the Wild Card.
Yes.
What are you smirking about over there? As a Man United fan, what do you
he's
even
a Man
have?
United fan.
What do you have to laugh about?
He kept saying bonjour to us.
Bonjour, Cecil. Merci, merci.
What are you laughing at?
I'm not playing PS. You're playing Bodo.
Glitz in the final.
And then Bill
You know what? Let me tell you.
Unbeaten.
No, let me tell
Unbeaten
you.
in Europe, my guy.
Yo, when I was going to school, when I was going to school, glint was like an adjective to describe something like there was a glint in your eye. Now it's a football team.
No, it's not even a banter thing. It's like I'm smirking because Rob is defending Odegaard like he's supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread.
I'm not saying that.
He's your captain.
He's had a bad season.
And he's not a leader. He's not a leader in that
I bet you
team.
any money.
He's not a leader.
He is a leader.
Team. He's not a leader.
Why is he not a leader?
Mahrez is more of a leader.
How do you
Rice
know?
is more of a
You
leader.
watch the team every week?
Yes, I watch. I'm a head watcher.
He's a head watcher.
Martin Odegaard, just so you know, is the
only
closest
reason-
to Mikel Arteta, though. Just so you know, at training, them two, they spend the whole day together and they go through tactics. He delivers all the messages, things we don't see, the training ground stuff. On the pitch, you might see the passion stuff that can rise. I hear it, but I'm telling you, Martin Odegaard has been.
And the thing is about it, what I have to say, right? And these absolute criminals, Man United fans, right? Let me just say, right? Everyone last season they were slating Bruno,
and he's your captain.
Absolutely slating Bruno. He shouldn't be captain. Every time he goes down, he's sulking. I bet you was doing that.
But he's
was you doing that?
No.
Was you doing that?
Bruno's my favorite player at the club right now.
Oh, he's your favorite now, right? Now I'm saying this, right? I'm saying this, right?
He's a hater, but he's a proper hater. So don't let him wind you up.
Martin, I watch that guy every week, right?
Yeah.
He's had a poor season by his standards. But the last two seasons is player of the season for Arsenal. That means the fans are saying he's our best player.
He's the cracker.
Yes, a player can have a... Do you say De Bruyne get him out? Because Vargas letting him leave. And look how upset he is about that because he's saying that, I ain't been fit. Did you hear what? But that's a very good parallel to draw, right?
Team,
because De Bruyne, I read what he said the other day. He said, "Listen, I've not been fit until about the last month or so. Now I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling good. Now they're getting rid of me." He's upset. If you read into what he's saying, he's vexed that he's going. He does not want to go. That's why he may even stay in England.
Listen, if I made £400,000 a week, I wouldn't want to go.
So, Arsenal fan, would you take it? If you were given this scenario? No striker still, but Bruno replaces Odegaard this season.
No.
What?
Bruno would kill us.
Bruno wins you the league. Bruno carries you over the line.
Is Bruno winning you the league?
In the Brighton game, he gets you over the line.
You're fifth from bottom.
Bruno wins you the league.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Let me go. Tag me. You go first. You said about Bruno is our captain. He's a leader.
Yes.
In your United team.
Yes.
Who the fuck else do you have that can lead the team? Excuse my language.
No one.
No one. You're picking shit from shit. You're picking. That's because he's the only man.
But hold on, Cecil.
He's not even
a leader. You've lost 16 games in the Premier League.
He's done his job in those games. The ones he didn't lose.
What's he led them to?
It's not Bruno's fault. Hoyland is not.
Hold on, let me just say,
my God.
All right, so as you guys like to talk about quotes and that, he will go down as the captain of the worst ever Manchester United team in Premier League history. Am I right?
The captain who by the...
Wait a minute, let me finish. Is that facts? That he will go down as the worst... How's it no?
This is the worst Man United team.
No. This is the worst Premier League team. Your manager said it.
The African KG.
Your manager said it. It's the worst Manchester United team in Premier League history.
At least my captain will leave knowing he lifted 3 trophies.
Brian, thank you. Bye.
Bye with trophies.
You know the thing is, right?
Not even one yet.
You know the thing is about it, right? The thing is about it, that as I said, they're criminals.
Shameless.
Man United this season, and Tottenham this season, right? We're not in the Europa League. Arsenal, it's impossible for Arsenal to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arsenal are going to finish in the Champions League places.
Yep.
Right. And these guys, Manchester United lost 16 games so far. More games to go. And Tottenham have lost 20 games out of, we ain't even done the full 38 yet.
You know,
and these guys got the cheek to say they're going to have a good season. You haven't had a good season. You've had an absolutely atrocious season. You're lucky, both of those teams, that the format of the Europa League has changed, that you don't have teams dropping out of the Champions League. 30 odd teams, 36 teams in the Champions League, right? That they've avoided playing. Yeah?
Exactly.
That you got Tottenham playing Bodo Glimt, a Norwegian team in a semi-final, right? The first time
Those guys are fishermen Monday to Thursday.
Yeah, first time in the history of their club they've ever made a semi-final, right?
Been there.
Right?
Been there.
So I'm sorry, if they're going to look on that like that's some great achievement, it's not.
For me,
they've had a horrendous, both of those teams.
Terrible.
Have had, Manchester United, statistically, the worst ever Premier League season in history. Tottenham Hotspur, statistically, the worst ever Premier League season in Premier League history for them. If it weren't for the fact that there's free, they ain't even got 40 points yet. Neither of them. That normally sees you go down.
Yeah.
And in the case of Tottenham, they even lost at home to Ipswich and Leicester.
Ipswich.
And these men are going to tell you that.
Let me tell you.
The Bruno thing's right.
Let me tell you the crazy thing is, right?
Trying to cool down.
When I first came to Kenya, right? I had no beef with Manchester United, no beef whatsoever. You used to listen to me on the radio. I was an Arsenal fan. I always had beef with Spurs.
Chelsea.
And Chelsea. You know I hate Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
Because I hate Chelsea because I feel that they're the ones who started bringing the whole heap of money into the game and mess up all the metrics, right? But Manchester United fans are the reason I now hate Manchester United. Fam, I used to go Old Trafford and watch games. But him.
You know what it is, right? You know what it is. Allow them to fool themselves. They did it last year. Last year, you know Daddy Ernie DJ.
Oh,
right?
gosh,
Big Man United fan. Yap. As soon as they won the FA Cup final, Robbie, better season than you. Look at the season they've had this year in the league. I said to him at the time, you're papering over the cracks. So if you think that's well done, you won the FA Cup, but I go, your league was awful. And I go, if you don't get rid of this Ten Hag guy, you're going to have the same season again. I give him a chance, but they had the same season again. And I have to say, this guy Amorim, he's another one. At the moment, I'm not saying he should get sacked yet because, you know, all right, he's come in, but brother,
I'll say it.
He has been worse than Ten Hag in the league.
I think if they start with Amorim at the beginning of the season, they get relegated.
Facts.
Based off this form.
Listen, Bruno Martin Odegaard as well. Sorry, I can't. Hey, yo, Martin Odegaard's been in team of the seasons for so. Like Robbie mentioned earlier, Bruno's been nowhere near those conversations. Those conversations about Odegaard and De Bruyne. Bruno, these.
As I said last season, and for a period of this season, a lot of United fans were slagging him off and saying that this guy, he's always crying, he's on the floor moaning, whining. Right, that's what they were saying. So I actually do think he's a good player.
I think you know what we need to do? I think we need to do is dead off Man United and Spurs. One question on those, then we move on from those guys.
Okay.
Yeah? I'm conflicted right now about this Europa undervalued final, right?
Would you rather win?
That's a problem for me.
Tottenham or United?
Let me go first. Can I go first? And I'll go first on record. As much as it pains me, I would prefer United to win the Europa.
Robbie?
I would prefer United to win it. I don't like anything to do with Tottenham. I don't like United. Listen, the rivalry goes back years from the days of Wenger and Fergie and stuff like that. But Spurs, I don't want them to win it. I don't think they're deserving of even getting to a final. As I said, they've had the easiest pathway to get there. You know what I mean? They've lost 20 games this season. And I just don't want to. Listen, when I go to that's the only stadium I go to in the Premier League where I said it the other night, my life's in danger. Yeah. I mean, they want to kill me. I don't want them to win nothing. Zero.
Which are your favourite? We went to.
Yeah, we met them actually.
Yeah, at Tottenham at that game last year.
Yeah.
I love
before or after the game.
No,
during the game.
During the game, you guys, we were in the boxes. You guys,
you guys.
It was right in front of
No, by the way, to be honest.
By the way, yo, what one then?
Not even about the boxes. You know what it is, to be honest? like I'm unlucky because whenever I go to watch Arsenal in other grounds, I always end up amongst. I'd have preferred to be like with the man them in the Arsenal, but you know it was
hard to get tickets.
whoever paid for it put us there. But I would say like Spurs' stadium is nice.
It's proper.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium.
Wait, of all the stadiums that you guys go around week in week out, what's your favorite stadium outside of obviously you know?
It ain't that one.
Huh? It ain't that one.
Right.
I'm seeing Chris Brown. Big him up.
Like which? Because I used to like, honestly, funny enough, I used to like going to Kenilworth Road back in the day.
Yeah.
To watch Luton play. I love going to Selhurst Park.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like I watched so much football at Selhurst Park because I was in South London.
Not as great a stadium to watch a game, Selhurst Park.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Big beams in front of you.
Yeah.
What do you want?
No.
Do you want our favourite stadiums?
Yeah, like as in-
we've been to
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, as
What, in the UK?
Out of the,
Yeah.
I'm talking, in the UK.
So we can start with the UK and probably
Yeah, go
everybody
on.
else.
In the UK, my favourite stadium to go to is Bournemouth away.
It's the same as
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same as me, man.
Why?
Tiny, because there's a tiny little stadium. You're like right. It's so unique, and then you're right next to the players. Like you're in the stand, and like the players are warming up just there, right in
Wow.
front of you. You can nearly touch them.
Wow.
It's just a unique ground for me. And
You like Fulham?
Fulham's all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fulham's
I like
all right.
Fulham as well.
Fulham's all right as
Yeah.
well. That's a nice stadium to go to. So again, a unique ground. The best.
Newcastle.
No,
No,
wait.
no, worse.
That's the worst.
Yeah, worse.
the worst.
Because Newcastle is because they put you up. They put you up on the top tier,
Right.
really, really high.
Sit next to God.
Yeah, you're removed. You're removed from the atmosphere of the game. If you was down below, it would be a great stadium to go to. But because of where they put you, honestly, like you've never been. The only place I'm even higher than that is when you go like Barcelona away. That's the old new camp. I don't know what they do, but that's the worst stadium to go to as a away fan in football. Period.
Not the Bernabeu?
Huh?
Madrid?
No, Bernabeu. New Bernabeu was all right.
It was nice,
I thought that was a good, nice stadium.
Bournemouth.
It looks a bit like a Westfield shopping centre outside. I mean, I think they could do it up a bit more. It's futuristic and that, but the Bernabeu is the worst stadium to go as an away fan. Without even nowhere close, as far as I'm concerned.
What Newcastle? What you say Newcastle? Yeah.
It's worse than Newcastle, a long way.
wow.
Because
Yeah.
it's higher up. The stewarding's terrible. The organisation's terrible. A lot of them Spanish grounds, by the way, are not
bad.
They're
Yeah.
terrible experiences for away fans.
For away fans, all right.
Because they just don't. They're just unorganised. You'd be surprised because you think you're going to these stadiums that are going to be really well organised. They're not. They're terribly. The English clubs know how to do organisation
Yeah.
of football,
Hosting.
away fans. That I think with a lot of them teams in Spain and they don't get a lot of away fans.
Right,
So maybe they don't know how
even
to
care.
And you go up there and you're behind like when we went to Inter Milan, you're behind double netting, perspex glass.
Wow, it's like a
You're
caged
walking into
in,
the
yeah?
ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's like the police are like soldiers with shields out, and that. Honestly, it's not a good experience in Europe. They don't know how to. I think the Spanish, the French. They don't know how to. Even in Italy, it's not a great either. I remember you go to a game like Napoli, right? Number one, it's one of the most hostile places you could go to. To go to the stadium, you got to meet down in the city centre. You get on these buses, they put you all on these buses and they bus you to the game.
Right.
As you're getting near to the stadium, all of their fans are going like this. Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean? You go in, you watch the game, then they
Oh.
bust you back to the... It's
Speaking about
terrible.
Italy, I've got a gift for you guys from Italy, but I'll give you guys at the end. We have another Arsenal fan here, Nyash. You must have a question. What go
Big up
on?
Nash, man.
Nyash,
Talking about stadiums, actually. There's a myth here in Kenya. I don't know if it's actually.
talking to the mic.
Also
Don't be
the
scared of the
UK.
mic. Adjust it. It's okay. It's
I met Nyash earlier, yeah, and I said to him, yo, you know, in the UK,
Nyash
your
is
name
something
is
else.
inside.
Well, he was Nyash before Nyash was running to.
Okay, I was gonna say, I said, yo, that day is a bit rad,
It's a bit
but
sus, but
unless
yeah.
if that's how you live.
I know. I'm too deep into it. I can't change right now.
You're too deep into the
Yeah. All right, stadiums, yeah?
Yeah.
They say, talking about atmospheres and stuff, Etihad or Etihad. Is it actually true? Is it actually true? I mean, it's not maybe that committed because
When you win enough trophies, you don't shout.
Etihad's got a problem, man.
So it's Etihad.
If Arsenal go to the Etihad, like it's a great atmosphere because it's a big game.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, City have got a little issue with like I see a game they played the other day. Stadium, it looked half empty, and then the other day
because it was a demonstration of some sort.
Well, what about the other day at Wembley? I thought that was disgraceful from City
because
fans.
we go to Wembley practically 3 times a year.
Yeah, but that's
no, that's not an excuse. Let me tell you something. Yeah, if that was Arsenal, Man United,
sold out,
Spurs even. Right, that's sold out. I don't care if you go there 5 times for the year. There should be not like Manchester. There was 4 teams that went to those semi-finals: Palace, Nottingham Forest, Villa, and you guys. Right, you were the only team to send tickets back. You only sold 27,000 tickets. Right, I think for a team of the size of Manchester City, that's poor.
But
Manchester
size
City,
is relative, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And Manchester City, this shouldn't be. And that's not even what you're saying. There's not relevant this year because the only trophy you can win this year.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, that is a very, very important. It's not like in the treble season where you can maybe make a case and say, right, they got all these games in Europe and this year. That's the only thing that City can win is the FA Cup final, and half of the fans don't turn up. That was a bad look.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think the reason behind it is, again, spoiled. We've had too much success to celebrate over the past couple of years.
That's when Arsenal started. You can't get a ticket.
I travelled for the FA Cup final last year. It was expensive for me, guys.
But you're coming from Kenya. That's different.
Yeah,
you're coming from. I'm telling you that if that's the teams that I just named out, if that's in Newcastle, you could put into that as well. They ain't seeing no empty seats.
Again, this is because probably this is the first time in a long time they'll be in that.
You spend more of your life defending Man City, and the fact that you guys are not actually a big team, and even celebrating their wins.
Maybe you should be on the lawyer team. That's defending all them charges.
Let me tell you, I don't know.
We're cooking in a couple of months.
I haven't been in the UK for a long time, but I can tell you one thing: Man City wins the Premier League in Kenya, it's quiet. Liverpool wins the Premier League in Kenya, it's quiet.
In the UK,
nobody really cares. No one cares.
Listen, they won a treble.
Is it loud?
They won a treble. No, the stadium. When I've been in the stadium, it has been loud. But I'm saying when you won the treble, no one really cared. I'll be honest. That's the feeling. I don't want to discredit it because it's an amazing achievement.
I think. Listen, I think.
It wasn't top news.
I'm not taking anything away from City. What they've won is what they've won, right? But where I will argue with City fans sometimes is like, they try to make it like they're so big.
Yeah. And
you're not yet. You're emerging still.
Facts.
City,
you're new to the table.
As fans are concerned, are emerging. Probably in the next 10 years, they will be on the level of the amount of things they've won and everything.
Do you think City will ever be bigger than Arsenal, according to you?
No, I don't think so. I think
in 10 years.
No, not even being biased.
No, relax, G. I'm asking the guests.
Arsenal.
It's not your show.
Arsenal haven't won the Champions League. Arsenal haven't won the league for 20 years. And still, right, we travel the world with Arsenal, me and him. Anywhere you go in the world.
It's the old guys now.
Any young
Shut
people.
Up.
Young people support Arsenal. They love the football club, right? It's got Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool. Those are the 3 biggest teams in England. Easily.
Yeah.
You guys got to go past
Those
Chelsea.
are the 3 of the biggest teams in the world.
I think we're bigger than Chelsea.
No, are you mad?
Than Chelsea, you're not bigger than Chelsea.
You're not bigger than Chelsea.
Not now. Not as a brand, global fan base.
It will take a lot to surpass.
Yeah, in all fairness to it, what I say in all fairness to it, right, is that the trajectory that you're going on, you will get to be in, because young people.
Young man, take time,
but
don't rush.
The fact that what I saw,
we're just 20 years old.
Yeah. As I said, when I saw that stadium the other day, I saw that whole top tier empty, and that's. I remember we played Man City in the Community Shield. Same thing, the whole top tier empty. I was like, what's that? They could have given us those tickets.
Mad.
There are people in the Arsenal end, they would have given you 2-3 grand
Facts.
for a £40 ticket.
Facts.
The other day when we went to Real Madrid, you could have sold that ticket
6 grand.
£5 grand plus, easy.
Yeah.
PSG.
What? Yeah, no,
easy, man. This
Real fans, bro. Real fans.
No, not a joke. That's like Man City.
It's a different fan
Man
base.
United are, and in 10 years you wouldn't be big in them. And look how they're doing bad. I know you can say they pick up trophies now and then, but they're a global brand. And I don't know. I always look at some of the people that were synonymous with building the brands and stuff. To me, I fell in love with Arsenal through Thierry Henry. He is an icon of the Premier League. He's someone that he's brought a lot of attention to the Premier League, and a lot of people love the club because of that man. United, I think David Beckham. I know they'll say Ronaldo's that, but David Beckham was kind of the guy that pushed it and that brand of player for Man United. Man City. I mean, that Aguero moment was big, but there's no it will take a lot for you guys, and that's just one fraction of it. That's one fraction of looking at how big and scalability of a club. But
I think there's clubs
history of Arsenal as well. United is.
I think there's clubs in when people don't realise sometimes maybe abroad. There's some teams that have massive fan. Everton's got a huge fan base. You never see Everton play an away game and they've not sold out their ends. The same with Newcastle. Like, I think Newcastle's fans are phenomenal. When you think that the distances they have to travel to every game.
Yeah, because
I would have asked one more question, but about the stadiums, right? But I can't ask about Old Trafford because, I mean, we know about Old Trafford, the leaking roofs, the rats, the poor hospitality and stuff, so we know about that one. I wanted to ask as an Arsenal fan, because we've been through a lot in terms of pain.
Through a lot.
In terms of pain.
Through a lot.
Yeah, like there are two moments that really stick in my mind. The 2011 Carabao Cup. Carling Cup, as they used to call it then. The mix-up between
the Birmingham? Yeah, I was at that game.
Lost to Birmingham.
I was at that game.
Yeah, so which one hurts you more? That or the Baku massacre?
No. Let me add one more. So that...
Is that another?
Shut up.
Wait, pull up, bro.
Oh, he's a former Arsenal fan. Maybe
2006 Champions League final.
Yeah.
Or the
Henry disaster class, yeah?
Or the 2011 Carling Cup.
Well, I can talk on all of them because I was at all of those. The 2006 one hurt, man, because I think if we didn't go down to 10 men in that final, we would have won that, right? And even then, we could have held on to, I thought Almunia at the time, keeper, poor, So that one really hurt. The 2011 Birmingham City one, I remember going into the game, right? Them times confident, man. Confident you're going to win, right? I saw one of my brethren from Birmingham. These guys, right, used to do security back in the day when I used to do the music. Yeah. And there's one guy, right, he's part of the Zulu, whatever they call their little crew, the Zulus.
Yes.
And he used to do security up in Handsworth and that. And I saw him before the game and he goes, "Yeah, Robbie, man, beating you, man, 1-0, I go, "Yeah, man, stop drinking." Well, when you come here, bunning too much weed last night. Which part? And they actually beat us 1-0. And then I come out and I see him again. Oh man, I got so much stick that day. Wow. And then what's the other one?
Baku.
The
2019 one.
Baku, bro. That was bad. That was bad, man. That was bad. That was the end of Unai Emery, man. But it was Baku.
Yeah.
That was like that was embarrassing, man.
Yeah,
and the only thing that didn't make it more embarrassing is that there weren't more Chelsea fans there because literally the whole stadium was Arsenal, right? So, but that was bad to get, because I remember in that as well. I thought we'd win that as well, and we got absolutely battered, man. And it was just terrible tactics from Unai Emery.
Europe has been a lot of pain.
Europe has been pain.
Yeah, let's. Venant.
Yes.
Also from the wild card. What have you got?
So I'm all about Fantasy Premier League.
You guys play, by the way?
I don't. I just don't get time to do it.
Sorry, actually, I sound like he definitely doesn't. But I don't.
No, I don't get time, man.
But you guys are familiar with how.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Arsenal, we've been good with clean sheets and also we've been scoring a lot of goals. But when it comes to now, like your show and stuff, how comes you guys don't talk about like the Arsenal players in relation to FPL? Because I'm sure there are FPL managers who like watch and like to know more.
This FPL advert brought to you by the Premier League.
Fantasy Premier League. I mean, one of the main things is what me and Robbie both said. We both don't play it. We don't get involved. So it's, and it's funny. I interview a lot of fans. And they always say, but on my FPL, he got extra points today. Yeah, exactly. So, no,
brother, when you come out of a ground, right, you've just lost the game, and a man's come and say, "Yeah, but I got points." You feel like you're gonna thump a man down. You know what I mean? Which points? We lost the game. I mean, nothing about no FPL game.
And we can't be interviewing fans and be like, "Yeah, don't worry that we lost today." We got 6 points. Clean sheets. So And I'm not saying, listen, I know there's a big market for FPL. Listen, like, all my friends play it. I've got a lot of football community friends, and all my WhatsApp, they love it. But yeah, it's not really the focus.
I think the good thing about FPL is that it forces you to focus on players you wouldn't normally like. It allows you to identify players who are actually having really good trends, but not mainstream coverage.
But we watch a lot of Robbie. Listen, Robbie watches so much football. I watch a lot of football as well. Robbie watches so much, so we're across a lot of we do weekly roundup shows, so we have to be across. Who's doing what? So to then add points and a whole, we do that conversating without doing the point thing. We will tell you this player's on good form, he's on hot form, this player's come through, this player's just broke through because he's just done this weekend, because we're across it. Like it's part of our role.
Now that you mention that, actually, like when do you guys get downtime? Like honestly, like for example, even before we done this, you had to record something to send to file out. Like
it's non-stop, man.
This is non-stop.
Thank you for
did you ever think it would be like this when you
full on like this?
It's
been full on since day one because it was a smaller team then. So I always thought that once you start to get a bigger team.
How many people in your team now, out of interest?
So 25 full-time staff.
Full-time.
And then you got other people that are like, freelancers and stuff like that.
25?
So, there's 2 channels. And, it's a big office, 2 studios. There's like a graphics team. There's a team that does all the, brand deals and stuff like that. So it's a big operation now. So I thought more and more people, I'd get downtime. It ain't really worked out that way. It's just like, you get less downtime. Because you then, even when you finish doing a video, then you got to go to a meeting and you know what I mean? So, but listen, when you're doing something that you enjoy,
it doesn't feel like work,
It doesn't. Well, it does feel like work sometimes. You're enjoying it. So if you enjoy what you're doing, I always say to people, if you can get something that you enjoy doing, then you can really make a success of it.
Of all the phases of your life, because like for me, I've been there for 3 phases of your life. Because as a radio presenter, like I was saying off mic that you were one of the guys that people like me looked up to because you got, you got the break. Before I was still in my yard trying to write applications to the BBC, you know what I mean? And you were there, and not only that, it was beautiful because you were representing our culture as well. And then also, seeing your song, Proud to Be Black. I was telling these guys that for me, when I came back to the UK and I came back to the UK just as that song was hitting, and I don't think people understand the context of the time when that song was released and why it is such an important song for us as young black British people in that moment. Because it was the first time that we were beginning to assert ourselves and have the confidence to say, yo, listen, anything I say, I'm proud to be black. So I've always wanted to give you your flowers for that because it was such a moment for us guys. And like I said, I remember I was renting a car. Don't ask me whose documents, whose papers, or how I got it. But we used to drive from London, because London has Nottingham Carnival, but we used to go to Luton because Luton Carnival had the vibes. And this man ran that city. That whole region was this man's region. So I've always wanted to give you your flowers.
No, respect,
you know what I mean?
Respect. It's like
UK reggae chart.
Yeah,
number 1 song.
Number 1 in the UK.
And I know you guys don't
chart.
know it, but of course, being a prepared broadcaster that I am, I do have it queued up. But tell us about the song.
Well, you know what, right? It's almost like when you say 2 phases, like 3 phases, because the first phase was sort of sound system.
Sound system, yeah.
So it's my brother's sound system must be on that. And
what was that,
Sovereign Sound, and I just had this lyric.
Sovereign was out of Luton, right?
Yeah. Sovereign was out of Luton, and it was a big sound. We used to play all the big sounds. We was known as we travelled all around the country, and I had that lyric that I'd written, and I was like, I want to put this out on a tune, and I put it out. And I remember when the tune first came out, we actually there was a lot of people saying to me, "Yeah, Robbie, man, you sure you them tune there, man, boy? It's a bit like what you're saying there." They go, "Oh, them tune this, man, proud to be black." Which I'm like, well, what's wrong? What's wrong with saying you're proud to be black, right? And yeah, the tune came out, and it's really the pirate stations at the time that made that tune so big. Like, they all jumped on it, they all bigged it up. I remember the first time I was driving, because at that time I was working as well, full time, and I'm driving, and I heard them playing it.
On the radio.
I had to pull over and say, wow, man, my tune's playing.
On the radio.
And then I noticed that I switch on to another station, they're playing it. Then you remember them days, there's a lot of pirate stations. Yeah. Then another. I was like, hey,
you got something
they're really on this tune, man. Like, you know, they're bigging it up, and they're bigging it up.
Yeah.
And then I started getting like PAs in Birmingham.
Right.
This Manchester. And that's when
and
I was
you're juggling it now with your work.
Yeah,
still,
And I'm like, this tune's taken off, man.
Yeah.
And then it went to #1. And, you know, it led to a lot of great things. Like, I was sort of in that sort of reggae scene for about 6-7 years. One of the highlights was I did Reggae Sunsplash.
In Jamaica.
That was unbelievable. I remember I come on stage during the day.
Yeah.
Like, when I say day, the morning time.
Right, early morning.
You know, like that show used to go right throughout the night.
Yep.
When you come on in the morning, it's daunting. You know,
that's the slot you want.
It's a slot you want, but you know, like Jamaica audience, right? You can see all their faces. They're all looking at you and say, all right, I want to English you to I'll go on with no. Right? And I come on the stage, I was like, I never used to get stage fright, but when I came on, I saw that.
Oh, those people.
Jeez, man, I can't afford to flop here.
For those of you who don't know.
Now this one dedicated to all the black man in the world who done broke.
Yo, let me tell you.
Robbie's like, yo.
It's easy to learn. Listen. Proud to be black.
Anything me say.
Proud to be black.
Anything me say.
Proud to be black.
Anything me say.
Proud to be black.
Proud to be black. Proud to be black.
This is him?
Yes.
I'll tell you. So I came on stage and I did it, and it tore up the place, right? And you know, we had a big article on it in the Gleaner and that, right?
Newspapers, yeah.
So you know what? The funny thing is, right? A couple of years ago, I was driving in my car, and was it on the radio or something? It was playing, and my kids were in the car. They go, Dad, that sounds like you. They didn't even know. You know, my daughter Farah, she goes, Dad, that sounds like you. I go, that is me. She goes, no, it's not. But it sounds like, I go, no, that's me.
Wow.
She goes, you made the tune. Right? I said, that's me.
That's so sick.
And she goes, no.
So
I said, listen, I used to have the tune, Crucial Robbie. She goes, yeah, I know you've said before Crucial, but you right?
Can't chat to Robbie.
I said, all right, go on Spotify. So I said to her, go on Spotify and thing. Yeah. So she went on Spotify, found. She goes, oh my God, right? So yeah, that was a good period, you know what I mean? And then what started to happen was, you know, that's why I admire a lot of artists that can stay on top for a long time, because it's difficult, man. Right? I had a couple of tunes after that. I did an album with Ariwa, used to tour and that, but then after that, when that started to fizzle out a bit, I started doing the radio DJing.
Okay. Right.
Because I had a bit of a name from that tune and the stuff that I did, then I got invited to do this reggae show, and then was doing that for a long time, and that was really, really popular.
That was massive.
Yeah, big show. You know, and yeah, that was sort of my previous. The reggae scene was a big part of my life. I always say I always look on it as kind of like my education, or like business, and even like sometimes I'm at football and people say, Robbie, man, ain't you scared, man, boy? Sometimes you go to some of these grounds, man, and you know, like
been in the trenches,
you go to Tottenham away, and I go, yo, man, listen, man, in some of the dancing when we used to go to, right? I'm sorry, I go that Tottenham away is a baby team
the crazy
compared
thing
to
is,
some of those things.
Because of where we lived in Northwest London, right? We could just about get his show. It's that weekend show, weekend show, right? So we could just about. So being the radio nut that I am, I had the longest antenna. Just because, you know, it was just so exciting to hear reggae, hear our music at the time. Because outside of pirate radio, you had nobody playing reggae music on mainstream radio.
Yeah,
on the BBC.
And then like
legend, man.
And then I used to like be going around the country, like, you know, and you know the scene in them days, man, when some of the promoters weren't the
best.
I wouldn't say they're the type of promoters you see now, right? You know, so even you had to roll with people that would make sure you get your money.
Yeah.
If you get my meaning, right?
Right.
So you're moving around. Except it was a big education for me. Big education that set me in good stead for when I was doing this business now.
Right.
Because I learned from sometimes doing things badly, how to not do things badly when, you know. And I was always sort of like, right, if I had to do things more professionally, moving forward. But it was a good time, man. It was a good time.
Those are good times.
So you moved from this to construction?
So, you know, once came off the radio and stuff. Sorry?
Construction?
Well, I worked as a building.
I missed that one.
Yes, I was a building. Before I started doing AFTV, I was a building surveyor. Because, again, it sort of came off the radio. I was running, then I was doing promotions. I had a promotions company and I used to keep a load of big dances and shows. And it used to go well. But then I started to say, I need to get a job, man. I need to get because, you know, this thing's a bit...
Yeah, up and down.
Up and down. And then I got a job and then I was trained went back to college, trained as a building surveyor and started working as a building surveyor. And it's a good job. But, you know, I was working at Wembley.
Okay.
Wembley. I worked all over Northwest London. I worked down in Kilburn.
I went to school in Kilburn.
But then after a while, I was just like,
this ain't it.
This is all right, man, but...
This ain't it.
Bro, I want to, you know what I mean? I love my football, you know what I mean? From even back in the day, I had a season ticket at Highbury. I used to go to all the games and I just wanted to do something within football.
Like, before I bring in Delvin as our last guest today, right? What was the first AFTV video? Like, what was the genesis of all of this?
Aston Villa away, no?
Huh?
Aston Villa away, wasn't it? Or
No, first.
you did one in your house.
First game I did. First away game was Aston Villa away.
Okay.
First home game I did was against Spurs. So,
wow.
you know, we beat them 5-2. I remember it. And I remember we put the videos out, and obviously you don't know what to think. You don't even know. It's the first time anyone's ever done anything like this. And so I'm thinking, how are people going to react to this? I mean, even at first, when you're asking people, you went up to people outside the ground.
Turning you down.
It weren't like now, where you've got like hundreds of people queuing up to have their say. He was like, you had to walk around the ground and say,
would you like to talk?
Yeah, do you want to talk?
That's brilliant.
People,
to come from that to what you...
Excuse me, would you like to say something about Arsenal?
Yeah,
I'll tell you, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, in fact, I can imagine.
Fuck off and leave me alone. You know what I mean? And things like that. Like, so, but I was always like, you know what, just look how many, there's 60,000 fans here, man. I must be able to get some. And so I just worked off of that mantra, and then I just, you know, when people started to see the videos and started to share it, then all of a sudden it became different, and then people wanted to come on.
Right.
So, yeah, and then it's just been a journey since then, man. It's
Amazing.
like, it's just been about doing it consistently, week in, week out, every game.
Even when you don't want to do it.
It's the absolute key, yeah.
Delvin, another one of our journalists here. Well, go on.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
Yes.
Your floor.
Yeah, I want to take it back. Robbie, you mentioned the board and Arteta gave up on the league by not signing anyone in January. Do you think it was a situation maybe where the board had told him last summer, we're going to give you this amount of money, go spend it on who you need, because you're not going to spend it on January? And he just went and picked the wrong players.
No, because they also tried to make a bid to try and sign Ollie Watkins. So that shows me that they were thinking about doing something.
Could have been smoked.
I personally think, this is my personal opinion without evidence, right? But just off of what I've seen and what I've sort of seen over the years with transfers and that, right? It looked to me like the manager wanted to sign a striker, right? The rumours that I heard is that they were after John Duran of Villa.
Okay.
Right? Because they'd heard a whisper that listen, at that club at Villa, Ollie Watkins and John Duran, there was a bit of a war at that club because the two of them want to be the main striker.
Right.
John Duran's unhappy because he's not starting. Ollie Watkins thinks he should be starting. So it's starting to come to the stage where one of them's going to have to leave, right? So Arsenal were thinking about signing John Duran, is what I understand. The Saudis came in, and Villa were like, well, you know, we'd rather him go to... John Duran's agitating to move.
We stalled as well. We were stalling.
They'd rather John Duran go to Saudi Arabia than go to you know,
an rival.
And it weren't just Arsenal, there's other teams as well. And then when Arsenal sniffed that, that's when they're thinking, right, well, they're only going to let one go, so let's go for Watkins. Because I think they'd heard from Watkins that he definitely wants to come. He would definitely come to Watkins, Arsenal fan. Cecil knows him personally. He wanted to come to Arsenal, and that's when they put that bid in. But Villa wanted more, and then, Arsenal didn't want to go higher. But certainly for me, it seemed to me, to some of the press conferences, Arteta, he doesn't really say bad things about the board, but he kept saying things like, they'd ask him in a press conference, do you think you need a forward player? He goes, of course.
Yeah.
Things like that, those little things.
But Robbie,
He got angry.
He weren't being defensive. He was putting it out there. We need a striker.
Yeah, but
so to not get anybody, that suggests to me that was the board who were just like, nah. We'll just wait until Watkins and all the other targets out there's going to be too much money. We'll wait until the summer.
I believe Arteta is mostly to blame for this. You know why?
I think Arteta's to blame in the summer for not getting a striker. I don't
And
think
then the
it's to
board in
blame.
January.
In the January, I think it's the board.
I am saying I think it's Arteta mostly to blame for this. As much as Arsenal fans gave the Kroenkes hate for not backing the team, I think over the past 3 seasons since Arteta joined, he's been given a whole lot of money. And it's his problem he's not gone out and got forward players.
But what I'd say is there's a lot of dynamics to there's a lot of dynamics to signings that people don't understand and don't see. I've been lucky enough to speak to a lot of agents and that they explain a lot of things to you, right? Yeah, he spent money, but in comparison, has it been enough? And if you actually look at Arsenal, right, and sometimes, as I said, like what I was saying earlier, I like to sometimes, we can all get mad and we can all things, but I always sometimes just like to sit down at home and just have a think about things. And I think to myself, I said, Arsenal always nearly do stuff. So the transfer window will come along.
And we're nearly signed.
We'll say, yeah, man. Say, yo, you know what? It's a decent window, but only if we bought that striker.
And it's been like that for a long time.
And remember when Wenger was there? Good window, man, but buy a defensive midfielder. So they nearly do a lot of things, and what happens is we nearly win the league. It's a correlation. So if you nearly do, whereas if you look at City, big up Man City for what they did in January. You can compare the two. Manchester City were having a horrendous season, right? Their owners are looking at it and thinking to themselves, yeah, they've forgotten about the league already. They know the league's gone, right? But they're looking at it and thinking to themselves, if we don't go on, we're in danger of not getting no Champions League. Look at even teams like Villa and all that, how they're playing. They're like, no, we can't allow that to happen, man. Plus as well, we want to do something in the Champions League as well. We can still do something well in that. So they went out and they invested big. They bought Mamouche in. They bought in the guy, the defensive midfielder. They bought in a centre-back because they had injuries. Husanov. They bought in play. They might not have all worked. But what's happened? All of a sudden now, they're in the FA Cup final. And they're going to definitely make the Champions League.
Yeah. But Chelsea spent $1 billion and they are where they are. And so there's another side.
I think it's a bit different in what I'm talking. I'm saying that they had a good City. There's a correlation. They had a good team at the start of the season. They've had injuries.
Good foundation. Yeah.
Kanji's out.
Diaz was out.
Rodri. They've gone and done something about it. Not because they thought they could win the league. They knew they couldn't. But they were in danger of not qualifying for the Champions League, and they went and done something about it. And now they're going to be in the Champions League. They're going to have a better season after they win that FA Cup.
Right.
Yeah.
We did nothing. And what have we got?
Nothing.
As usual.
And if you want to be serious in something, in this Premier League, you've got to be. So in the summer, that's what I'm saying. To me, if they don't go out there and have serious intent, I mean, we're hearing a lot about it. You heard us doing that video like Gyökeres, Zuberman.
This is where I see it as we wrap up. This is where I see it. Arteta, Arsenal, we need to have a transfer window that says we're serious about this, we're going for it. And Arteta needs the kind of transfer window that says, I've given you all of the tools you need.
Exactly.
Now go win it.
And if I don't win it, sack me.
Was the Declan Rice window that window though?
No.
I think
because we needed a striker. We didn't get a striker in that window.
All right, listen.
Declan Rice was a great window, nearly enough. Nearly.
That was
but then when you look at what City done that window, they had Haaland.
Yeah, true that.
Early, actually.
As we wrap
up, what's your wish list like for the summer?
I'm happy if they get Zubimendi. I'd
Done.
be happy if they got Gyökeres.
Almost done.
I still think we need to get. I'd like to get a second left striker as well. Because Jesus is gone. You won't going to see Jesus until the end of the season, probably. I'd like to see a left winger as well, an exciting left winger. I want attacking.
like 6-7
I've heard Robbie say this.
Robbie,
which attacking players?
Which left winger do you have in mind?
Yeah, that's a lot. Like
Cecil, what about you?
Zubimendi's pretty much done. Gyökeres I'll be happy with. We're not going to get Isak. I want a winger. I don't think we'll get two strikers.
Which one?
A winger.
Which winger?
Rodrigo's floating around. I wouldn't mind him. He's
What about this kid from BVB? Dortmund.
Gittins. Nah.
Also,
I haven't seen enough of him.
It's another.
I don't mind signings like that. You know, a lot of people say
Potential.
Rodrigo.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think Arsenal need to get Rodrigo, right? You know what I mean? And I've seen Rodrigo in a lot of games blow hot and cold as well. He's a good player, don't get me wrong.
When he's good, he's good.
I would rather Nico Williams than Rodrigo. I think I like his pace. I think he plays already on the left hand side. Rodrigo's more on the right hand side, where Saka plays. You can put him on the left, but he's more on that side.
We need another 10 as well. I want Eze as well.
I kind of feel like if we start football something, especially in this house, that if we start talking about it, we're going to be here till tomorrow. I want to first of all thank you guys for coming through to the yard. End of the day, for real, respect for coming through. And nobody comes to my yard and doesn't leave with something. So if you can pass me those things on the counter back there, you know what I mean?
better come back then. Yo, wait, come back.
Nobody comes into this yard without, bring them in, man. Because we
really fed us as well. Respect that. Yeah.
No. You know what it is? Because you know what it is? It's like we didn't win anything this season, but I still want you guys to feel good.
Is that trophy?
Listen, we're the only club with it. Shiny gold trophy, so take it. So watch yourself, City.
You mentioned this. This is a great Prosecco coming from Northern Italy. Single grape, top of the range, and it's for you guys to go and enjoy.
No, thank you very much.
You know what I mean?
You don't even drink.
Chill out.
That's your Premier League, man.
Have a nice
Thank you guys for coming through,
thank you very much.
You don't know. And listen, keep it AFTV, keep it the good company as well, the wild card, and big up everyone who come through. Carol, big up yourself. Also, you got to talk about your sponsors, man. Oh, the chef. Big up the chef. Big up the car.
Big up.
Arsenal fan. Actually, I feed all of you guys.
Big up Chef Ricardo in the building.
Big up, Chef.
My brother. You don't know. And of course, you got to big up the team who brought you here, man.
Oh no, they've been incredible.
Yeah?
Incredible. Ken's there as well, right?
Yeah.
These guys have been so good since we come here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a lot of planning.
Yes.
And, my team drive a hard bargain.
Yes. As they should.
I would have loved to have been in their rooms to see her, my guys and Carol.
Yeah.
Right. That must have been some good clashes, right? But they pulled it off. You know what I mean? They brought us over here, and it's been absolutely brilliant. And I'm passionate about coming to do stuff in Africa.
Yeah.
We've now done Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and we've done here. And I'm hoping that we can partner with these guys and do more places, especially over in East Africa. Really want to keep this partnership going, you know what I mean? Because they're good guys, man. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
A lot of times when you go on these tours, when you're working with people that you really like and you really enjoy their company,
you want to do more.
Yeah, if they get you doing loads of extras, you don't care. You're like, come on, let's do it, man. You know what I mean? So they've been good and really, really enjoyed it. And I think as well, the things they've planned around the watch party, because obviously the main thing was the watch party. But I think some of the things they planned, like yesterday we done this creative workshop. I think them things were fantastic. We did this charity thing. We went to this children's home. I think they've done some really outstanding work. So big up to them. Yeah. Right. And we'll be back.
All right, man.
Especially now we come to your yard, man. I mean, we don't even need a hotel.
Gifts. I know, man.
The food, everything is nice.
Oh, man. So listen, man, thanks for coming through. And of course, make sure that you follow them on all the handles. AFTV Media.
Yep.
AFTV Kenya as well. I saw a handle like that floating around as well earlier. All right. And make sure you keep the link. Done no respect. Proud to be black.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Bless up, man. Bless. Round of applause for the man there.
Thank you.
Make sure you all subscribe to the channel as well, man. Big up yourselves.